Hi guys, it's Beauty/channel, and in today's video I will be teaching you the shading technique with machine. The difference between dark shading, light shading, ombre, light at the front, darkest at the end of the brow, or even intense shading. Let's dive in. Before showing you how to shade with the machine on a latex, I just want to add a little bit details. Okay, so this is the first type I will talk about in this video. The first is a big mistake. Nobody does this type of brows anymore. It looks like an old tattoo because the front is super dark, the same as the tail. This looks very artificial and hope no one will do this type anymore. So let's start. The first type you can see it's ombre brows. The front is light and then it goes darker at the tail. The second type is puffy brows. I call them puffy brows because you don't really see the edges. You see like a shade spreading out. I would say this is the most natural from all the shading because it just could bring up the shape, but it doesn't have that makeup look and just no real edges. The second type, it was really hard for me to draw with a pencil, but what I mean is very shaded and still the front is light, so it doesn't go like a square box. No way, it goes still lighter and goes darker at the tail with a very like a one line edge. So these three types I will show you with the machine today. The lighter part, why is it light? Because the actual dots are placed far away from each other. Why this area is darker? Because all the dots are so close to each other. It doesn't mean that in this area the dots are deeper or here are more on top of the skin. No, this is not about that. This is how the dots are close packed or far away packed from each other, because if you go too deep the dots will have blue color and probably after the shading heals you will see like a very blue spot here and there, so all the area will be shaded and here and there will be patches. Now what I mean by close packed dots and far away dots, so we all know that machine creates the small dot insertions in the skin, and if the speed of machine is very high, or even higher, it almost goes like a line. So as you can see, when the speed is lower, the dots are more far away rather than when the speed of machine is higher. So just keep in mind at the front we don't make the speed of machine too high. So at the front, you see, you hear lower speed, higher speed, lower speed. So at the front I create more far away strokes. So what is the next factor that influences how dots are close to each other or far from each other? Is the movement of your hand. If your movement of your hand is quite fast, then you probably will get the dots more far away from each other. If your movement is quite slow and at the same position, of course you will get more dots inserted, and that's why the area will look much dark. So let me show you how I do the type number 1. So I start from the tail where the dots are more close packed together. So of course I increase a little bit more my speed and the hand movement will be more slower and more on the same place, so that I will get more dots on the same place. So I go from one point, spreading out. Do it several times. Then I move a little bit further. Then I move forward. And I move again forward. I do it several times on one place because it's not that easy for the ink to get inside the skin, and after one, if you just do once and you wipe out the ink, you will see almost nothing there. I do this all the way to the front of eyebrow. Something I want to point out, if I want to my upper part be lighter, not that dense in shade, I again make it less, the speed a little bit, and then my movement at the upper part of the brow will be more like a swing, lazy, not lazy, but energetic swing. You see? Here was so close, packed together, and at the upper part, movement so wide. You can also do insertions like this. These will also create the shade like you want, whether it's close back or far away, but be careful not to overdo, because if you go too deep, then this dot will be very, very fat. So you have to be very careful. Also, the dimension of the needle you are using, it shouldn't be more than 2.3 point or even 4 point. Now when I get closer to the front, I will not show you the actual because the brow is kind of too big and it will be very boring. So how do I do at the front? The same wide movement, so you see this one is kind of light, and then going more intense and more darker here. So again, more far away movement, and somewhere at the back side would be more slower and more at the same place. Second type is the one that has no edges. Again, I lower my speed because the shade is quite light. But this time I don't follow the outline. I go kind of from the outline to the middle. So something like this. Not even following the outline, coming outside the outline. So somewhere in the middle of brow, they would intersect. And again, on the real skin, of course, you will not see this precise lines. Actually, after you wipe out on the real skin, you will almost see nothing or very light shade. So don't worry, it's very different from the fake skin. Now, how to make the brow have very edgy look. I increase my speed. Do you hear? And then this will be almost at the same place. So the speed is high and the movement is slow, almost at the same place all the time. And again, when you come up to the front, the speed goes slower and the movement of your machine is less. Just want to point out, if you're scared of machine, don't be. It's actually much more easier than microblading, and all you can go wrong with machine is just the client having no color in her brows after the healing result. So just try it out, practice, and you will get a great result. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment or find me on Instagram and ask me directly. We also have a group where everybody can ask their questions and everybody can see these questions and learn from each other. So under this video, find all the description and links. And let's keep in touch and see you in the next videos.